So now we're on the perfect fifth. That's where we left off last time. So we're going to be looking for a 7-note away perfect fifth. The fact that it's a perfect fifth means that it's the fifth position in the scale. 7 here representing that it has a distance of 7 notes. The fact that it's an odd number means that it's one of the cool kids to make a chord from, because we skip every other note. We skip those even ones. They're just the odd man out. There's like no evens in this chord. Was going to be a 1, 3, 5. You don't know how to play soccer or whatever. You don't get picked to be on the team until you pick up your skills. Even number, I don't know what I'm talking about. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and 7 basically ends it off. So we can say that the fifth is going to be a same name from a position here as well as the chord construction. All right, also just remember that the fifth is basically the same interval in the major chords, same in the minor chords. The only one that doesn't have a perfect fifth is the crazy Locrian. That's really important to really emphasize the fifth multiple times, because that means that no matter what note you are playing in the shape, whether it be the major scale or any of the other modes, you can add a fifth to it every time except for one. So that's the Locrian. So you can always add a power chord. You can always add a fifth. So if you're like noodling around and you're like, I don't know what, I know this note's in my scale, but I want to play like something else with it, well, you can always add a fifth, right? Unless it's on the B, you're good. Like you're gonna hit a note that at least works 6 out of 7 times. That's why the power chord is ubiquitous and useful that way, but you're playing an ambiguous chord from perspective of major or minor scale, because you're missing the factor, the determining factor, which is the third. All right, so let's go through this. So if I'm on the same string, the fifth is going to be 5 notes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's about as far as I can reach from this C. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That F. All right, and so then we can go above. So let's go above it here and look for the fifth above it. Now, when I go above it, if I'm looking for a 7-note away perfect fifth, then I have to look for the inverse distance when I'm going above it, which is 12 minus 7, 7, which is a 5 notes away. 5-note away, which would be a perfect fourth, remembering that the perfects are inverses of each other. The inverse of a major is always a minor. Inverse of a minor is a major. That makes sense. And the perfects are inverses of each other, and the perfect first is its own inverse. It's like it's a kind of obsessed with itself. Okay, it's like a very very narcissistic, I guess, person or interval. So if we go up, it's going to be -5, 6, 7. So if I go up this way, wait a sec. I'm going up this way. This is wrong. I'm looking for that F. That F isn't right. I'm looking for the G, baby. Let's do this again. So it's just going to be 5 distance. 5, boom, right there. All right, so if I go up, we go boom, 5. So if I went from top to the bottom, from G to C, that would be a 5-note away perfect fourth, and therefore from bottom to top would be a 7-note away perfect fifth. Okay, so that means that if I go up one string, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the B string, in which case if I was on the B string, it would be back here because this tectonic plate shifted to the right, which moved the root number, the root. So that means if I go up one string, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the B string, in which case if I go up one string, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 1 fret back. Okay, so let's say I go up 2 strings. And we're going to say it's going to be up here. So I'm looking for a 7-note away perfect fifth. I have to look for an inverse distance. 12 minus 7 is 5. So -5, -10. negative 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Boom. Let's do it here. So it's going to be negative 5, negative 10, and then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. There's the G, baby. So top to bottom would be a 7 note, would be top to bottom would be a 5 note away perfect fourth. But bottom to top, therefore, would be a 7 note away perfect fifth. So that means if I go up 2 strings to 7 note away perfect fifth, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on the top bottom 2 strings, the B and the E string. So here's, if I was here and I went up, then it's actually going to be closer of a distance because the tonic got shifted to the right. So rule is, if I go up 2 strings to 7 note away perfect fifth, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on the bottom 2 strings, the B and the E string, in which case if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, 7 note away perfect fifth is 1, 2, 3, 4 frets forward in that case. All right, let's go to the top string. Top string. By the way, you might say, hey, look, I'm closer to the bottom string now. So maybe it would be easier for me to look at the distance down here, which would then be the same as the top string. And that way I wouldn't have to look at the inverse distance. I can just look at 7 notes away instead of 5 notes away. So you might say, I have to cross the fault line, which would be this way, 5, and then 10, and then 10, 9, 8, 7. So there it is here. If it's on the bottom string here, it's also on the top string. Same. Or I can count up the other way, in which case if I go above this note, looking for the 7 note away perfect fifth, I have to take the inverse distance, which is 12 minus 7, which has a distance of 5. So it'd be negative 5, negative 10, negative 15. There's only 12 notes in the alphabet. 12 minus 15 is going to be 3. So negative 3, and then 4, 5. So we can count it out that way. So I'm going to say this is going to be 5, 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 4, 5. Boom. Top to bottom would be a 5 note away perfect fourth. Therefore, bottom to top would be a 7 note away perfect fifth. All right. Let's say, so that means that if I go up 3 strings, the 7 note away perfect fifth will be 2 frets back unless I'm on the bottom 2 strings, the B or the E string. In which case, like if I was on this C and I went up 3 strings, then I would be back here, which would be a longer distance because this tectonic plate shifted to the right, pushing the tonic to the right. So that means if I go up 2 strings to 7 note away perfect fifth, if I go up 3 strings, the 7 note away perfect fifth will be 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on the B or the E string, in which case if I went up 3 strings and crossed the fault line, the 7 note away perfect fifth would be 1, 2, 3 frets back. Okay, so let's go down underneath. Now this, when I go underneath here, then I don't have to take the inverse distance. I can look for just 7 notes away instead of 5 notes away. And but I'm going to cross the fault line. This is the only time if I go down 1 string that I cross the fault line because this is the tectonic plate that shifted to the right. So we're living here. We're living just like I am. I'm like right on top of like the San Andreas fault. It's like, you're crazy. I'm going to fall in. You know you're going to fall in, but you just sit here anyways because I'm not that, apparently not that bright, you know. Yeah, it's probably going to shift again. Okay, the whole thing's gonna fall into the ocean. The whole California's gonna fall into the ocean. You're like, dude, I thought there were no more floods happening, and it's like, well, no, a flood is when the water rises. What we did is this time is we dunked you under, and it's totally different. Dude, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was legal. Anyways, if I go down one, we're going to go here. So it's going to be, so we cross the fault line. So it's going to be 5 going this way and then 6, 7. So we're going to say it's going to be here going this way, 5, and then 6, 7. Boom. So that shape should look kind of familiar. It's like a power chord shape, but it got pushed up because the fault line got pushed up here, which is the only time it would be pushed up. Because even if I was down here on this continent, then it wouldn't get pushed up. And if I was up here, it wouldn't get pushed up. That's my normal shape. So normally, if I go down one string, the 7-note away perfect fifth has that familiar power chord of it being up 2 frets. Unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string, in which case, if I go down one string and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth would be 3 frets forward. Okay. What if I went down 2 frets? What if I went down 2 frets? I will tell you what if. Now we're on this one, which we looked at a little bit when we went to the top one. So I'm going to go down 2 frets and cross the fault line. So it's going to be, I'm looking for a 7-note away perfect fifth, which would be diagonal 7 notes or 5 notes because of the fault line. 5, 10, 9, 8, 7. So it's going to be here. 5, 10, 9, 8, 7. Boom, boom. Okay, so that means, so it's right there. So that means if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, 7-note away perfect fifth is 2 frets back. But I wouldn't cross the fault line if I started on either the E or the A, the top E, the one on the top of the guitar, E or A. So if I went from like this C to like this G, then that would be the normal shape. And that shape, people are less familiar with it, but it's the G shape, right? Here's the C, G shape right there, right? A G would look like this. And then if you had it up here, but then you like barred it, you know, but then you like barred it, then it would be something, you know, like that. All right. Anyway, so that's actually a useful shape to know. But there's the third right there. But the idea is that normally, like if I went down 2 strings, the 7-note away perfect fifth would be 1, 2, 3 frets back, unless I crossed the fault line, which would happen on either the D or the G string, in which case if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth is only 2 frets back. All right.